Hello everyone, welcome to biology lecture. Myself Somnath Panicha here. We had already started a class 12 new chapter that is called as a reproduction in organism, and we had already completed a one session of that. Okay, so here is our second lecture, and from this lecture we are going to start with our vegetative propagation techniques. Okay, so vegetative propagation means what? Here we will be talking about vegetative parts, not about the reproductive part. What is the reproductive part? Consist of the plant, that is a flower. Okay, that is a gynoecium and androecium, all those things. So but currently our topic is vegetative propagation, so we will be discussing about the vegetative part of the plant. Okay, in that the first method which is coming on the screen, that is called as a natural method. Under this natural method, the first part is the root, both tap and adventitious root. Okay, so let's talk about first tap root over here. Development of the adventitious bud on them. Example, Dalbergia. Okay, that is a sesame plant. Guava, poplar, albizia, and muraya. Okay, so these are the plant you can see. Example given to you on which adventitious bud develops on the on the tap root system, and that bud will be going to give rise to a particular new plant. Okay, now if you see a second category, that is a fleshy root. Example, root tuber, we are commonly called that as a root tuber. Okay, so there is a development of the adventitious bud will be taking place. Now see, sweet potato is there, then tapioca is the example, dahlia and asparagus are the examples, comes under fleshy root. Okay, next, if we talk about underground stem, so under this first category comes, that is a tuber. Bud will be developed on their nodal region. Normally in case of potato, we call that as a eye, right? So wherever there is an eye seen on case of the, in case of the potato, that all region will be called as a nodal region, right? So through that, the things will be developed into the new plant. So see, artichoke and the potato are the example given to you over here. Next, if you see the bulbs, okay, so bulb means what? There are garlic bulbs are there, onion bulbs are there, right? Then one more example given to you, that is a narcissus. Okay, narcissus. So see, underground condense kind of shoot. Okay, one or more buds can be developed. Now corms, okay, that is a example comes under this corm category, that is a amorphophallus, that is a zamicant commonly called as a colocasia, crocus sativus, and then Fraisia. Okay, crocus sativus and the Fraisia are the examples coming over here. So what are these corms? Now see how this is going to help. Unbranched swollen underground stem have a circular nodes and have the birds over there, okay, which will be developed into the new plants. See over here, rhizomes. Underground stem store food for the prenations during unfavorable condition. Now, have the bud, aerial shoots will be developed from that during the favorable conditions, okay, through the nodal regions. Example, you can say banana, ginger, turmeric, aspidium, and adiantum. Okay, these are the examples comes under rhizome part. Coming to the suckers, okay, slender underground branches will be there, which will be going to give rise to the new plant, okay, by developing some adventitious kind of the roots. Example over here, mint and the chrysanthemum. Don't worry, I will be showing you all the diagrams in detail, so you will be understanding through diagrams also very clearly. Now let's talk about subaerial part, okay, or you can say creeping stems. So there are total three types. One is a very commonly known as the runners, then stolons, and then offsets. So in runners, the lawn grasses, or you can say cynodon, commonly called as a dupe grasses, centella, oxalis. Okay, oxalis are also commonly called as a wood sorrel. Now stolon arched horizontally branches. Okay, they are just horizontally run on the particular ground. Okay, so strawberry are the example, vallisneria is the example given to you. Now offset, these are one internode long runners, aquatic plants. Here examples is very common, Ecornia, that is commonly called as a water hyacinth, and Pistia, that is a water lettuce. Okay, and aerial, if you see, there is a fleshy phylloclades, Opuntia, and other plants also giving you a particular examples. Now, sugarcane is propagated by planting the segments of the stem with at least one node. Okay, so if you want to plant the sugarcane, you should have at least one node in the center, so that the new individual will start in developing from here. So you have to place this sugarcane horizontally on the you can say in the ground. Now, leaves. Leaves have adventitious bud. You know very commonly if the category has started with the leaves, there is an example called as a bryophyllum and kalanchoe. These are the very common example comes in the examination. But other than this, there is a bignonia, okay, streptocarpus, then centepulina, then adiantum, caudatum. These are the categories can give rise to the new individual because on the edges of this leaves, they will be showing a vegetative buds. Okay, those vegetative buds will be started developing into the adventitious root and the plant will be grows from there. Okay, so adiantum, which is commonly called as a walking fern also, the leaf tip forms a new plant. Okay, with when it comes in contact with the soil. So this is one of the special example adiantum where the leaf tip comes in the contact with the soil and developed as a new plant. Very important example you can say. Next, bulbils, multicellular structure, fleshy buds will be there. Example, oxalis, agave, pineapple, that is commonly called as ananas. Okay, Dioscorea, that is a yam, and lily, then chlorophytum. These are the examples comes under this bulbils. Here, example based question will be asked in the examination. So examples should be very, very familiar. You should become very familiar with the examples, okay, with respect to the headings. Now see, agave. Agave is a commonly called as a bulbils also, characteristic of the bulbils only. So floral parts, that is a bud, will going to give rise to the floral axis. Okay, called as a century plant also, vegetative propagation for the reproductive organ. Bulbils are axillary in Dioscorea. Oxalis, they are born over the base of the fleshy root. Okay, so see, bulbils के लिए यहाँ पे axillary location दिया है. Okay, in case of the Dioscorea, and oxalis का जो बात चल रहा है, they are born over the base of the fleshy roots. Okay, now turions, the swollen bud, which is I will be showing you the figure also. Don't worry about that. That is actually the stored food material will be seen over there. That is what the turions means over here. Detach from the parent plant and remain inactive throughout the winter. And new plant will be developed in the spring season. Okay. So water plant example, Potamogoton and then Articularia. These are the examples will be coming over here. So let's see the diagrams of all the categories now. You will be understanding all the concept with the diagrams itself. See, this is a tuberous root, right? See A figure, focus on the A figure. It is an adventitious bud growing into a new shoots. Okay, so there is an adventitious bud. You can see a lot of adventitious buds are there, and finally it will be developing into the new plant, right? This is in tuberous root. Example is also given, that is a sweet potato to you. Okay, see the figure number B over here. This is a reproductive root. Okay, so young shoot is arising from the reproductive root of Dalbergia. That is a full name if you want. That is a Dalbergia siso. That is a sesame plant. Okay, and if you see the third figure over here, that is a dahlia root. Okay, so old root tuber of the dahlia growing into the new plant. So see, this is a single root tuber, and if you see from here itself, the new plant has been grown, and here there are some new tuberous root has also been developed. You can see in the figure very clearly, right? So let's try to understand some new categories example. See, now can you see the potato over here? So those buds which is seen over here, these are actually nodal region, okay, and normally called as a germinating eye bud. Okay, these only responsible for giving rise to the young shoots. Understood? Second is the onion. You can see over here. Second is the tunicated bulb of the onion. And this onion, if you just keep in contact with the water, they will be start developing the adventitious root, and the things will be started. Green parts will be started developing on the upper side. Okay. This is the example of the corm. The C figure is an example of the corm of colocasia. Okay, and colocasia is having a lot of daughter corms developed on his body. Okay, and even the adventitious roots can be seen over here. And even also you can mark some node and internodal region over there. Okay, they have the scaly leaves. Scaly leaves is not performing any kind of photosynthesis activity because they don't have the chloroplast present in them. Okay, so the next example which is coming on the screen, that is a ginger. Okay, so that is a ginger part. You can see horizontal rhizome, you can say, having the lot of nodes and internodal regions. On that there is also a scaly leaves present. Okay, and the scaly leaves again do not perform any kind of photosynthesis activity because they don't have the chloroplast present in them. Okay, And from the nodal region, if you see, adventitious roots has been also developed over there. And you can also find over here, there is a young development of the bud is also seen in the figure, right? And the fifth one, that is a sucker of the mint, that is a pudina. Okay. So this is how the stalk is. You can see at nodal region, the adventitious root will be developed when it comes in contact with the soil, and through that a complete shoot will be given rise. Okay. Clear? So let's move ahead with the some other examples also. See, now we are talking about the runners of the grass. So this is how the actually main stem running. Okay. And through the nodal region, the roots will be arising. Okay. And then further part, you know very clearly. Okay. Cynodon dictylon is the example for the runners. Okay. Very common examples. Now, second example is the stolon. Stolon of wild strawberry. Okay. So if you see, when it comes in contact with the soil, develop the adventitious root, and then further leaflets will be developed. Okay. Aerial leaflets will be developed. And the third example is very common. That is the offset of the water hyacinth. In between there is a space. Okay. This space at least one internodal region. Okay. One internode long. Okay. That is the space, or that is a gap between these two. Okay. And very attractive kind of the leaves you can see over there, and the adventitious root, which is like, see, it is this fellow will be growing on the surface of the water. Okay. So these adventitious roots will be inside the water. Understood? Let's move ahead. If you see, this is a sugarcane diagram given to you. Just place horizontal sugarcane into the soil with at least one internode. Okay. With at least one internodal region. Okay. So what you will be finding over here, that node will be going to give rise to a new plant over here. Okay. And the adventitious roots will also be developed. Clear? Okay. Next, let's move with the next figure also. This is a very common example, as you can see over here. That is a bryophyllum leaf. है ना? So see, first example is a bryophyllum leaf. At the notches of this region, you will able to see the adventitious bud, which will be going to give rise to the roots region. Okay. And a young plant will be developed from here. So one leaf, many plantlets you'll be getting from here. That is a benefit what we can see over here. Other than this, the second example is for the agave, है ना? Bulbil of agave. So can you see this small bud region? Okay. And even see the leafy like structure you can see over here. The third one is the articularia showing torion. Where is the torion? This is a torion. This I told you, this will be grow in the, see, spring season. In the winter it will be remain as it is. Okay. Let's move ahead. Now we are entering into the sexual reproduction part. Okay. Asexual reproduction has been completely studied. Even the vegetative propagation has been over. Now we are entering into the sexual reproduction, that is also called as the amphimixis, syngenesis, amphigony. So these are the total different names given to you. Again, see, sexual reproduction also called as amphimixis, syngenesis, amphigony. So many terms are there. Okay. So formation of haploid gametes by the gametogenesis. Okay. So what is the sexual reproduction? Here the gametes are going to be fused together. Male and the female gamete will fuse together to form the zygote. Okay. So that gamete formation is actually undergoing a process called as a gametogenesis, right? So fusion of the, see, gametes will be taking place. There is a formation of diploid zygote. That is a process called as a syngamy over here. Okay. Final product is a zygote formation. This zygote will undergo mitotic division to form the embryo. That is the embryogenesis process, right? Rest everything you know very clearly, how the embryo development and all those things takes place. So let's see over here. Offspring which is produced are not exactly identical to their parents. Okay. This is a very important point. Offspring which is produced through the sexual reproduction is not exactly similar to the parents. Okay. There will be kind of variations will be seen. Okay. Now, meiosis and mitosis both will be occurring here. Okay. You should keep in mind meiosis and mitosis. Okay. Mitosis, like germinal epithelium cell, if I say use the term germinal epithelium, it will undergo mitosis to produce many germinal epithelium cells, and those germinal epithelium cells will undergo further meiosis process to form the haploid gametes, right? Don't worry, we will be discussing everything in detail in the coming chapters. Okay. Now see, in protist or algae, there is a formation of zygospores. Okay, that is in case of the favorable conditions. So you should keep this in mind. This example is extremely important for you. In case of the protist, or you can say algae, there is a formation of zygospore in the favorable condition. So early sexual reproduction is isogamous, and see, evolution, that is a, see, you can say anisogamous, or it can be oogamous type also. Now there is a one more category over here, chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas shows the three different kinds of the reproduction: isogamous also, anisogamous also, or oogamous also. We had already studied this part in the plant kingdom chapter, class 11. Okay, just go through it, you will understand very clearly. Even the our video lecture has already uploaded on our YouTube channel, so you can go through that plant kingdom video lectures also. You will understand that part completely. Okay, now let's talk about the types of syngamy. Okay, so types, how it will be taking place actually. So syngamy, it is a complete or permanent fusion of the male and the female gametes to form the zygote. So under this category, the first one is called as a endogamy. Endogamy means what? So it is called as a self-fertilization, means the fusion of the male and the female gametes of the same parent. Okay, thus uniparental condition can be seen. Okay, uniparental means single parent. Okay, example Taenia solium, that is a tapeworm, which are normally called as a hermaphrodites. Okay, so hermaphrodite example is given to you already, tapeworm. Okay, now exogamy. Exogamy means cross fertilization, fusion of both gametes of different parents. Biparental condition can be seen. Example, take as a rabbit. Okay, what is the example given to you as a rabbit over here? Okay, so let's move ahead with some new interesting characteristic also. See, cross fertilization also occur in many hermaphrodite in animals, as you can see over here on the screen, that is the earthworm and the leech, right? Because earthworm, they shows the protandrous condition, means what? The male part will be developed first and then the female part will be developed. Suppose one particular earthworm has developed already, the male gamete of means male sex organ has been developed first, so he will be in search of another earthworm in which the female reproductive structure has been already developed. So according to that, the cross fertilization will be favored, right? Next, because the reproductive organs mature at different times, that is what I mean over here, है ना? Then cockroach, fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. These are the further example given to you. Isogamy, the fusion of the morphologically similar gametes, same structure, and even the size is same. That is what called as a isogamy. Okay, means flagellated or planogametes can be the term used for the flagellates one. Okay, planogametes. Okay, that is the word can be used for the flagellated organism. Example here is Chlamydomonas, Microcystis. What is Microcystis? It is a protozoan. Okay, next, Spirogyra are non-flagellated because they are filamentous structure, or you can say aplanogamete, called as a aplanogametes. Okay, now see, morphologically similar, functionally different. Therefore, it is also called as a physiological anisogamy. What does it call? It is called as a physiological anisogamy. Okay. So let's move ahead with the further explanation with respect to anisogamy now. So what is anisogamy? It is the fusion of the gametes which are structurally similar but different in size, which are structurally similar. Okay. But size will be different. Some will be the smaller one, some will be the bigger one. Okay. Example, Chlamydomonas given to you. Coming to the next part, that is a oogamy. What is oogamy? That is a fusion of one large gamete that is belongs to the female gamete and the egg. You can say, what you can say, female gamete as an egg that will be the larger in size, and the smaller motile gamete will be there, that is the sperm, or you can say anthrozoids. Okay, example, volvox and fucus. So oogamy. Understood? Hologamy, or you can say macrogamy. See, hologamy or macrogamy can be the term used. Two organisms gamete fusion, or two organism itself act as a gamete and they will be fusing together. Example ले लो यहाँ पे yeast. क्या बोल रहा हूँ? दो organisms, okay, और उनका gamete fuse होना, या तो फिर दोनों के दोनों organism आपस में gamete के जैसे act करना, आपस में gametes के जैसे act करना, और वो example है आपके सामने yeast. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, Conjugations. What is conjugation? A bridge formation. We had already talked about this conjugation, okay, in the biological classification system, okay. Now see, it involves the temporary union of the two parent of the same species, which exchange their male pronuclei to form the synkaryon, okay, and then separate to produce the daughter individuals. Now, example given to you is a paramecium and the spirogyra, okay, paramecium and the spirogyra over here. Now, phase in the life cycle. What are the phases will be there in the life cycle? So see, juvenile phase, where actually the organism will be developing himself, okay, that is also called as a vegetative phase in case of the plants, okay. Then it is also called as a pre-reproductive phase, right? And then soon there will be the reproductive phase, means maturity phase you can say, है ना? So maturing during the puberty also. For the human beings, for the animals we use the term puberty, for the plants we use the term pre-reproductive phase or maturity phase, right? Coming to the next part, in plants, see, if you take the example as a plant, monocarpic is the first category. Monocarpic means what? They flower once in their life, produces fruit, and then they will die. Okay. For monocarpic, what are the examples can be taken? All annual plants can be the example for the monocarpic. Example, wheat and rice given to you. Biennial plant, if you take carrot and the radish are the example. Perennial plant, if you take the few perennial plants can be comes under monocarpic. Okay. Certain bamboo species. Okay. What is the scientific name of the bamboo species? It's Bambusa talda. Okay. Bambusa talda flower only once in their lifetime after every 50 to 100 years. Okay, after every 50 to 100 years of the time period. Next example is given to you, Strobilanthes. That is a Kuntiana. Okay, Strobilanthes Kuntiana. That is called as a Nilkaranchi. Okay, so flower only once in after 12 years. Okay, after every 12 years it will be started giving flower. Last time it was flower during the September October season. Okay, that is a 2006, and now in the year of 2018. In hilly areas, it has been found like Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. So this is again the very important question which you have to remember. Okay. Coming to the next category now, polycarpic plants. Polycarpic means what? They flowers repeatedly, like apple, mango. Every year you will get this apple. Every year you will get the mango, orange, grape wine. है ना? So these are perennials. What are these? These are actually perennial. Few perennial have flower throughout every year. Like example, China rose. That is a shoe flower. Okay, now after understanding this plant characteristic, now we are entering into the very important part of the chapter, that is called as a difference between menstrual cycle and the estrus cycle. Menstrual cycle and the estrus cycle. So coming to the first menstrual cycle occurs in the primates, okay, like monkey, apes, humans only. Okay, like monkey, apes, humans only, that means primates. Okay, these are the examples of the primates, right? Coming to the next part, estrus cycle will only taking place in the non-primates like cows, dogs, etc. Okay. Now, what about menstrual cycle? This cycle consists of the menstrual phase, proliferative phase, and secretory phase. These are the three phases will be there in case of the menstrual cycle. We will be talking about menstrual cycle in detail while studying the human reproduction. Okay. Coming to the next part, it consists of a short period of the estrus, or you can say heat period. Okay, normally we call this as a heat period in animals. Okay, so 12 to 24 hours time period is also given, 12 to 24 hours in cows. Okay, followed by an estrus or passive period. Now the blood flow in the last few days of this cycle, okay, like 4 to 5 days there is a bleeding period will be there, but here in this scenario, okay, estrus cycle, there is a no bleeding phase will be occurring. Okay, this is a very important statement. Next, the broken endometrium is passed out during the menstruation, means everything whatever the endometrium, what is this endometrium? Actually the inner membrane of the uterus. When it undergoes a menstruation, there is a completely breakdown of the endometrium layer will be taking down, the thickness will be getting reduced. Okay, and everything whatever the cells, dead cells, all debris and all, it will be just coming out in the bleeding phase. But here the endometrium will be getting reabsorbed into the body again, it will not be coming out because there is no bleeding period over here. Okay, the sex urge is not increased during this menstruation, but here this is a very good period, you can say sex urge is increased during the estrus period. Okay, now female does not permit copulation during the menstrual phase of the cycle because no endometrium, no implantation can be possible during this period of time. Okay, but here the female permits the copulation during the estrus period. So this is the we had completed the menstrual cycle as well as the estrus cycle in detail. Very, very important part. Questions arise from these regions also. Next, we are entering into the senescent phase. That is the finally, you can say, end of the reproductive phase. That is the last phase of the life, right? So what will happen over here? See, sexuality in organism. In this upper senescence period, here the reproductive phase is over. The last period, like old, it will become old, and then finally death will be taking place. Okay, sexuality in organisms. So these get familiar with these terms over here. Homothallic means bisexual. Okay, example given to you, mucor. Heterothallic example is unisexual. That is a Rhizopus stolonifer. Hermaphrodite means bisexual. Sweet potato is an example given to you. Male flower staminate, female flower called as a pistillate. Both are present, then it will be called as a dioecious plant. Okay, both are separately present and dioecious, both are present on the one, then it is called as a monoecious, right? So next, date palm, papaya. Papaya, like they have, see, papaya, they have the two kinds of plant. Male flower is a different and the female plant is a different thing over there. Okay. So dioecious plant example, dioecious means two separate plants are there with respect to the male and the female, right? So male flower will be the separate plant, female flower will be the separate plant itself. Okay, therefore the dioecious. If both, suppose male and the female flower is there, okay, bisexual flower, in short, take example, bisexual flower is present on a one particular plant, then we will be calling as a monoecious plant. Okay, so let's move ahead. See, monoecious plant is there, maize, coconut, cucurbita. Okay, these are the example given to you. And Cara bears both male, that is the Anthridium, that is a globule part. In case of the Cara, the male part called as a globule and the female part will be called as a nucleole. Okay, Oogonium. Okay, Anthridium is present downside and the female gamete is present on the upper side. Sex organs are very, very important over here. Remember, okay, Anthridium and the Oogonium means globule and the nucleole. We will be seeing the diagram also, so don't worry, you will understand very clearly. See, Markensia dioecious. Okay, what is Markensia? Is a dioecious. Bears Archegonia, and see, on the Archegonia will be growing on the Archegoniophore. That is the female gametes is going to grow on the female gamete, means that female gamete stalk, right? You can say Anthridia over Anthridiophore. Okay, we had already talked about this Markensia bryophytes in case of the animal, plant kingdom part, right? Hermaphrodite in animals, hermaphrodites in animals, tapeworm, earthworm, leech. These are the examples you know. Okay, unisexual or dioecious, that is the Ascariasis, cockroach, frog, lizard, and birds and mammals are the examples can be understood over here, right? So now see, rotifers. Rotifers, honeybees, and even lizard and the birds are the example over here. They are developed by the parthenogenesis process. Okay, parthenogenesis process, and they are actually haploid in nature. Okay, parthenogenesis means what? The without fertilization development will be taking place, and normally the individual will always remain as a haploid because egg only going to develop itself. Okay, into the haploid offspring. Now, external fertilization means aquatic condition is required. What is required? Aquatic condition will be required over here. Example, algae, fish, amphibians. Okay, very clearly understood because we had already studied the animal kingdom also, and structural organization in animals also when we talked about the frog in details. Let's talk about internal fertilization, that is a fusion of the gametes inside the body of the female. Example, reptiles, birds, mammals. Okay, then bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperms, angiosperms are the example over here. Male gamete is always motile, that is a mobile male gametes. Okay, that is a sperms. In seed plant, non-motile are carried by the pollen tubes. Okay, because gametes are non-motile, so gametes will be carried out with the pollen tubes. Okay, this is the thing which you should understand. Now see, these are the some figures which you have to remember in this scenario over here. First example is given to you, earthworm. Okay, this is how the earthworm, bisexual, okay, male and the female both will be present in the same individual itself, hermaphrodite you can say. Okay, so here you can see that testes and ovaries and all those things are present over there, right? Next, this is how the male cockroach, okay, reproductive structure, and the female cockroach reproductive structure given to you. Next here, see the Chara. Chara is a monoecious plant, means one organism produces both, right? So see, downside there is an entheridium, upper side there is a capsule-like substance you can see over there. That is a oogonium, female sex organ called as a nucleus, and the entheridium which will be called as a globule. It's look like a round shaped figure. Okay. So understood this part very clearly. Chara is absolutely important plant. Don't ignore this. Okay, absolutely important part. Okay, because based on the male and the female position, the questions will be arise from the Chara. And this is how the Markensia look here. Dioecious means two separate individuals will be there, Archegoniophore and Enthridiophore. Okay, on Archegoniophore there is a presence of Archegonia. Okay, and on Enthridiophore there will be the production of the Enthridio. Okay, Enthridio, Enthridias. Okay, let's talk about this vegetative structure which is seen on the thallus. That is a Jimma cup. Okay, so Jimma cup helps in the vegetative propagation. Okay, so now this is what the sweet potato bisexual flower has been shown over here. This is very commonly understood by you people. Okay, further part, there is a post reproductive events. That part is left. We will be talking about that in the next lecture. Till that time, just read your NCERT, go through all the diagrams with labelings. That is extremely important for you. Okay,